Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Nowitzki. I'm the UFC's Senior Vice President of Athlete Health and Performance. On behalf of my department, my partner Donna Marcolini, Dana White, we are honored and thrilled today to be honoring Daniel Cormier as the second UFC athlete to be recognized of achieving the 50 test plateau under the USADA program. Some of you may have followed 2 weeks ago, we were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and recognized Holly Holm. She was the first athlete to be recognized to achieve 50 tests. I got home that day, and of course the internet sleuths and maybe some of you in the media said, hey, wasn't DC the first one to reach 50, or wasn't Jose Aldo? So to be clear, Holly was the first one recognized at 50 tests. I think technically DC was the first one to reach 50. He's now at 54. And then Jose Aldo was another one, generally at the same time, that reached 50 tests, and we'll be honoring him down in Sao Paulo in May surrounding that event. But DC, who we're honoring today, it's a fact that his testing history, beyond likely being the first one to achieve 50 tests, stands out, because prior to the UFC's anti-doping program, DC was part of USA Wrestling. And under that program, also administered by USADA, from the years 2001 to 2009, he had 30 tests conducted on him. So you're talking about an athlete here over a 14-year span, had a total of 84 tests on him without incidents. That leads us to the next bit of feedback I got after the Holly one. And in fact, Donna was just telling me a story this morning at the gym. She was telling, another gym member what she was doing today. And this person said, really, we've come to a point where we're honoring athletes for being clean. Shouldn't everybody be clean? What's the point of honoring them? And, I've used this analogy quite a bit, but drug testing in this day and age, if I walked by an Olympic-sized swimming pool and threw in potentially as low as 1 grain of salt in that pool and let it disperse, drug testing in this day and age is able to detect that. So you can imagine the level of care that needs to be exercised in ensuring not just that you wake up and say, I'm not going to do steroids or EPO, but everything literally that you ingest, that you rub on your skin, you have to make sure is going to adhere to this program. In addition to that, this specific program, what DC has undergone 54 times in the last 5 years, in order to find DC those 54 times, he's had to accurately update his whereabouts, where he's going to be. And, that's no small task either. You look at other professional sports, and normally their drug tests are done immediately after a game. There's a note on their locker saying, hey, come see the drug tester, or right after, a practice. In this instance, DC's likely been woken up early in the morning dozens of times, been kept up late at night, had his practice interrupted. So there is something, in my opinion, to be said and recognized for what DC has done and achieved that. I get questions, Don and I, all the time from athletes saying, I'm a UFC athlete. It's really difficult to, update where I'm going to be. I have obligations all over the place. Where you're looking at an athlete here that was a double champion when he wasn't fighting. He's one of our best commentators, traveling all over the world. He coaches high school wrestling, dedicates his time to the youth of the community, and he's able to update accurately over 14 years. Most of the time when I give that answer, it's either silence on the other end or very subtle, okay. So DC, thank you for doing that for us. Thank you for a fantastic career and being a great leader and a great role model to other UFC athletes, to other professional athletes, and probably most importantly, those kids that you coach and youth athletes around the world. You set a fantastic example, and so we're honored to present you with our second athlete to receive the 50-time test UFC Letterman jacket. Thank you, DC.
Nice. I don't know if it'll fit, but let's try this thing. Yeah, no way cutting. Let's try this thing though. Nice jacket. No, it does fit. Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you. Mm-hmm. You guys want to get in here? We'll take a picture? Yeah, all three of us?
Yes.
Let's do it.
So, Tony, you want to have him up on top here?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Just one more.
Step
Yeah.
up. Step up.
Yeah, get in the middle, DC.
You guys, one more real quick right here. Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take this off. It's kind of hot now. I've done a lot of things in my career, and honestly, this is one of the more proud things that I've accomplished. To be able to compete at a high level for a long time, and still, have these to receive something like this, 85 tests, all clean tests. To do it the right way means a ton to me. I being a guy that wants to encourage youth sports and youth athletics, you have to do things the right way. Otherwise, your message goes above a kid's head. And I'm so extremely proud of this honor. And look, Donna and Jeff said I'm very good at updating my stuff. There have been times, there have been a few times where I get a call and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to jump on this or tell Cassandra or just try to get it figured out. But look, man, you guys know there have been times where I've lashed out at USADA and all these other things, but they're doing a great job. They're doing it as great a job as any testing program could ever do for a sport that's constantly evolving. And the testing is evolving with the sport. And I think that's very encouraging. It's very honorable of you, USADA, and Jeff. You guys are doing a fantastic job of keeping up with everything that's going on in the sport. And the UFC is better today because of USADA. Because before, for as great a sport as it was, this program has legitimized everything that the UFC is, and I'm thankful for it. So very proud of it. I'm going to be able to show this to my son and to my kids that wrestle and say that, for winning a whole bunch of championships in different sports, there was never a bad drug test, and that means a lot to me.
DC, can you tell us what you do take, like supplement-wise or anything like that? I'm just curious. I mean, you've been a world-class athlete throughout your career. We hear all these guys, tainted supplement,
Yeah.
I don't know. What is your regimen?
So that's, honestly, I have a guy that does that for me, Ian Larios, and he calls Jeff with everything. I think if you are able to, if there's a question, ask it. Don't take anything to chance. This is your career. This is your career. Don't take anything to chance. Don't mess up. Don't even risk it. When I was wrestling, I was a young kid. I was Superman. I didn't have to take supplements. I just kind of did what I did. But now as an older man, I do have to take a lot of things. And before I take anything, we make sure to call Jeff. And he's very open with his phone line, and he's very knowledgeable, obviously. And also, you can just go on USADA's website and check to see if that supplement you're about to take is going to be an issue. So you have the resources to not make mistakes. But I take what my nutritionist gives me, and once if he has a question, he calls Jeff.
So what do you, as an athlete, like when you hear these people, failing tests or having tainted supplements, whatever, I mean, does it anger you, like knowing you might have to compete against somebody that's not adhering to the rules? I mean, what does it make you feel when you see people fail?
So, like I said, we're better today because of USADA, because I've been around long enough to know that I've probably fought guys before that were doing things, and that was before, and the other organizations that I fought in Strike Force, guys might have got away with stuff, so we're better today for it, so and then I always point to that, I'm pretty sure somebody I fought back in the day was on something, and I find comfort in knowing that I won those fights. So try to do the same thing again. I don't let it deter me. I'm not a guy that really lets go of my goals pretty easy, so.
You usually have some good stories. Can you maybe tell us a nightmare story where they called you up when you were somewhere that you didn't want to be tested?
Well, I've had some rough ones. I tell you, probably the most difficult time I've ever had was trying to be smarter than randomly pulling the number. That's where you run into an issue, right? Because when you say, I'm going to if I get tested Friday, I won't get tested Saturday. So you think, it's just a number. They're going to put my name, or I don't know if it's in a hat, whatever. Whatever they do, they pull a number. And I was at the Titan Games in 2004 in Atlanta, Georgia. It was this concept that USA Olympic Athlete Committee came up with where it was boxing, wrestling, weightlifting, karate, taekwondo, all these sports. And after the matches, I got tested on Friday. So I was like, there's no way. I'm ready to go in Atlanta. It's the black hub of America. I'm going to go and party with my people. So I peed right before. And it took me 4 hours to pee after. No matter what I drink, I could not pee again. So that's probably like the most nightmarish time I've had with USADA, because I was there until probably 1 o'clock in the morning trying to pee because I just could not drink any more water. I was like, it's over. And then once I opened the faucet, I could not close it. So I was up all night. So that's probably my worst experience with USADA.
We've seen athletes, the temptation must be crazy for athletes to take some steroids and form enhancement drugs. It might sound like a weird question, but why did you never succumb to that temptation?
To get here as I am today, I was blessed with a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, naturally, God-gifted ability, and I didn't want to forsake that, by trying to enhance myself. I took the abilities that I was going to be as good as I was going to be. Nothing more, nothing less. You can't cheat that. I wasn't gonna risk my long-term health for some more money or a couple championships. I got enough of them. I got to live my life in the spotlight, and I just did it through hard work. And I think that when you keep those things in perspective, there is no temptation. I never was tempted to do anything like that. I can never think back to a time from being at Oklahoma State to the Olympics to fighting where I ever had a thought that I was going to do something like that. Not one time. Just never crossed my mind.
I know what fans think, and this discussion goes on about his legacy's got an asterisk next to it and stuff like that. Fighters like yourself or people like Michael Bisping, you have more of an appreciation for each other inside the world of fighters than you do for those guys with asterisks.
When I don't know the right answer to this question, right? Because I've had a long history with a person that's had those types of things, and I don't want it to come off as if I'm taking shots at him. I think that seeing Holly Holm do what she did and get all those tests, that's great. It's very admirable of Holly. It's great to look on the USADA website and see all these athletes not have these issues. Michael Bisping, I think, even though it was at Luke Rockhold's expense, one of my best friends in the world, seeing a guy like Mike that hung around for so long finally get his moment, after the initial heartbreak for Luke, it was a little bit like, wow, Bisping got his moment. So I honor him for that. And I know that Mike was a guy that started this thing with no grappling or anything. He was just a guy that knew how to fight from England, and he made it happen. But, yeah, I think certain sports take it too far. Like some of the guys that have been accused or lived in an era where they did those things, they've been completely almost wiped from existence. I think you cannot really do that to guys. But I do believe that you do have to take into account those issues. Because once again, it's not that hard to ensure that you're not doing those things. But it can happen. It can happen to anybody, It can happen to anybody.
You just mentioned a former rival a second ago, and you said that you don't want to sound like you're taking shots at him. Recently, in an interview, he said that he's ready to move past the beef with you. It sounds like you are as well. You're ready to bury the hatchet.
I just think that as time passes, things kind of go away. We seem to be on different paths, obviously, and but water on the bridge it will never be. It's not. I think for a guy like me who's worked so hard to achieve everything that I've done, and honestly, as I said when I won the heavyweight championship, now there's something so completely outside of that guy, nobody can ever question it. But those things, those things that happened did really bad damage to my career, and it's easier for them to move on than it is for the person that kind of had my career was damaged by those actions, not his, so it's a little easier.
the official rankings still have you listed at light heavyweight and heavyweight.
Mhm.
Are you planning to ever return to light heavyweight?
You see how I'm plummeting down those rankings? It's because they know. No, I don't plan on going back down there. I mean, I don't know. I really don't even know. You know, right now I'm just kind of doing my thing and starting to train and get healthy. I mean, I just want to be healthy. You know, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to train as I know I can. You know, my last fight, I fought and I thought I was ready to fight. And, you know, there were a number of things that I couldn't do. But, you know, Habib had surgery and told me, like, after a year, your back would start to feel back to where it was. And now I'm finally starting to feel that. And that's all I want. To be able to train and make a decision on what I'm going to do.
When would you like to take your next post-fight drug test?
You know, I talked to the UFC, and we've got a pretty clear idea of what we want to do. And now I have to see what the champ says. You know, I don't make the rules. He's the champion. And I respect that. You know, I respect Miocic. And I just hope it happens sooner than later. You know, and we got an idea what we're going to do. And I think it'll work out.
Daniel, although you're a clean athlete, I'm sure you've known people that are not. May I ask you, how big of a difference do you feel that this makes? If you had been taking whatever under the sun was there, would you have smoked Jones and Stipe in 10 seconds?
God, man,
how much of an impact does this have? Can a number
those
one
guys are
guy beat a number one guy if he's not playing?
those guys are pretty good fighters, man. So smoking them is kind of crazy. But I don't know. I mean, all these, that's all hypothetical what ifs. You know, it's like you can't say, well, if I did this and he did this, that's I think that's just a waste of time. Like, I don't do that. You know, I never thought to myself, well, if I did this, I could have did this. I just say, you know what, man, I was blessed to have a lot of moments in fighting, and hopefully I got one more in me. That's really all I think about. That's it. You know, I just one more moment to hoist that belt up over my head like I've done on so many occasions. I'm at a point now in my life and my career where I don't think about people's actions and hope that their actions make a difference for me. It doesn't matter to me anymore. It shouldn't do me.
DC, Dana said recently that if Stipe is not ready in a given time frame, they may move on from him. I know you said Stipe or bust. Is that still the case?
I'd like to fight Miocic. I haven't even really thought about that. You know, I think everybody wants what GSP got. And I wouldn't mind getting what GSP got to be able to leave on top. But we'll see. You know, we'll see. You know, I'm in a very unique position where I don't have to fight. And that's it's dangerous because you can find comfort in that. But it's also it's very motivating because if I do it, I'll know I'm doing it for the right reasons, and that's a good position to be in.
Will you be
Is
watching
that
these?
healthy, or do you feel like this maybe won't be the last one as you start to feel better, or are
You
you
know-
pretty content with this being the last fight?
You ever saw a carton of milk and there's an expiration date? Mine was supposed to be last year. So every day we move past it. So I'm pretty sure I'm sour, man. I'm sour. You don't want to drink me, you and your cereal. You know, man, I just want to fight the guy, get my belt back, and be done. That's what I want to do.
Hey, Daniel, back to the first of all, I'd like to say thank you for being a role model for all these young guys and everybody out here. You should be congratulated for that. I think if you look down the roster of UFC athletes, you're at the top of that.
Thank you.
Can you talk about maybe how difficult it is to live as a role model? I mean, because being a role model on television may be easy, but living every single day as a role model is not the easiest job.
Well, I mean, I think when you start trying to live as a role model, you get tripped up. You just live as you are. And if people see you in that light, then that's how they see you. You know, you don't make a decision that I'm going to be this guy and this guy and this guy. It has to be in your heart. You know, I live in my heart. You know, my heart tells me to coach. So I coach. My heart tells me to love my children and my wife. So I do. I mean, I just do the things that's in my heart, you know, and I don't live as a role model. I live as Daniel. And if people view me in that light, then that's what they do.
One last question, gang.
You said that there were some things entering that fight with that second fight with Stipe going on. I recently spoke to your coach. You said a big thing was mobility.
Yeah.
You mentioned the back. How much better do you feel now compared to when you were getting ready for the Stipe?
Well, I've done multiple things. You know, I had some stem cells done, and I'm just trying to get healthy. Like, you know, and I'm not making excuses. Miocic fought a good fight. He won the fight, but man, I couldn't kick until probably about a week and a half to the fight. I didn't get to wrestle the whole time because my back would just get so tight that if I wrestled, it was 3 days before I can go back and train. So I just couldn't really do the things that I'm used to doing. You know, I couldn't do the things I'm used to doing, and I just hope that I can do those things over the course of a full training camp and show what I can really do. You know, I found success in that fight, and I was not really myself.
And you didn't enter 100% into that Derek Lewis fight.
Mm-mm.
Did that in any way give you, I guess, a little bit of
False. Well, yeah, you know. Well, Derek Lewis fight, I was on the felt like I was about to go to the hospital in the morning, but you just couldn't wrestle. Stipe is a fantastic mixed martial artist. You cannot be less than 100%, or he's gonna beat you. And if I'm not 100%, the next time we fight, then I won't fight him because I don't want to do that to myself again. I don't want to feel like that in there, like where I feel like everything's going the right way and then it's not. You know, I can be better, and I want to ensure that that's the case when I go back into the octagon.
Last one here.
Actually, just back to the actual testing. How does the location whereabouts work? Every morning, like, do they know exactly where you are? I mean, obviously they know where you are.
They know where I am. Yeah, look, they're here.
But
It's right there. The people that need to know, I'm right there.
Like every morning, do you have to tell them like how does it work?
Okay, so there's an app, right? So it makes it pretty simple. There's an app. You put your home address, right, which is normally where I would get tested in the morning or at night at home. And then I put that I go to AKA from 12 to 2. And then I put that from 3:30 to 5:30, I'm at this high school. And then back to the gym. And then any of those places, they tell you. But here's the deal. If you go somewhere, right, like say you have a misplacement, right? Say I'm not at my house when they come. As long as I'm like 3 hours in range or something, isn't it like 3 hours?
1 hour.
1 hour or something. As long as I'm like 1 hour in range, I can get back to where they are to test me. So it's not like, oh, you're not home, you fail the test. It's like if I'm in San Francisco, I can say, okay, I'll drive back. Or, you know, I'll drive back to my house as long as I'm close enough. So it's not like you're not there, it's over. It's like, but if you're in freaking Vegas and they're at your house in California, now it's a problem. But, I mean, they've been willing to work on multiple occasions with people where if you're at a UFC event, maybe a different, maybe can somebody else test you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a different tested person will just test you at that event. So it's not like life or death. You know, it's like sometimes these guys are like, well, I wasn't home, so I felt. No, that's not true. Like there are ways to still get your test. But you just do the app. And then if you leave, just update the app when you're going somewhere different. It's right away, actually. Or you send an email, and then they'll do it for you. But I'm an adult, right? I'm an adult, so it might sound a little easier. All right? All right, guys, thank you. No problem.